Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Michelle Shantz. I'm a Senior Communications Officer with the City of Hamilton, and I will be moderating today. Before we begin, I will ask those who are not speaking to please hold your questions and/or stay on mute until you're called upon to avoid any background noise. Please be advised that this media briefing is being recorded and will be posted publicly. Media are asked to keep their questions to the topic of the ongoing cybersecurity incident response. With that, I would like to introduce the city spokespeople here today to provide an update and answer questions. Mayor Andrea Horwath and City Manager Marnie Cluckie. With that, I will first turn it over to Mayor Horwath, who will provide some opening remarks. Mayor Horwath, please go ahead.
Thanks very much, Michelle. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. City Manager Cluckie and I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here to share as much of an update as we possibly can at this time while investigations related to the cyber incident continue. Our city manager, as well as our council and myself, we all value transparency, and it has been the case that the city manager has been sharing appropriate information on the city's website regularly, as I'm sure all of you are aware. Today is another opportunity to share further information. Before I hand it over to City Manager Cluckie, though, I want to start by thanking Hamilton residents for your ongoing patience in the face of this unprecedented situation. Council and I recognize very clearly how disruptive things have been and what a challenging time it has been for the people of our city. We also recognize that the community does have concerns and questions, and certainly appreciate that. We might not be able to answer all of those questions today, but we will certainly share everything that we possibly can. I also want to take a second to thank city staff who have literally been working around the clock, day and night, to respond to the situation and to ensure that full services are up and running as soon as possible. So that work is ongoing, but they have been working extremely hard. And as mayor, it's important for me to acknowledge that work. They haven't stopped. And I really I do want to recognize their commitment and let them know that myself and council members appreciate that, their commitment to not only their work and their service, but their commitment to the city and our community. I want to assure residents as well that as soon as our staff discovered the breach, the team right away began to respond. They acted immediately. Their most important priorities, as you can well imagine, have been to protect the community and protect the service delivery staff, as well as to minimize any impacts that people might experience. From the outset, they engaged a team of extremely talented cyber experts who are working to do that exact thing as we speak, literally. It has been an ongoing process. It continues, but the experts were on line immediately with our staff when this situation occurred. I have full faith as your mayor and full confidence in the team that they've put together. And I'm really grateful, frankly, that they've put together such an amazing team and they're working so very hard. Once we have gotten to a place where we've restored all of our systems, City Manager Cluckie and her team have committed to conduct a full review to understand how this breach was able to happen. Based on their findings, they've committed to me and the council that they will ensure that the city puts in place appropriate systems and protocols to try to avoid something like this happening again. So I'm going to pass it over now to the city manager to provide her update. But again, I do want to say that on behalf of council, we apologize for the inconvenience that this has caused, and we appreciate your ongoing patience in this situation. So with that, city manager, it's over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to echo the comments of the mayor and thank residents for their ongoing patience at this time. I also want to thank the staff team who has been stepping up and working around the clock to resolve this issue as quickly as possible. I haven't been with the city for very long, but it's been more than enough time for me to see how dedicated the team at the city is to protecting and serving this community. I know folks have questions. I'm going to answer as many as I can because that's what Hamiltonians deserve. Here's what we know and the steps that we have taken. Last Sunday evening, we confirmed that we were experiencing a cyber incident that disabled some of our IT systems. We took swift action and engaged with cybersecurity experts, legal counsel, and insurers, and advised the appropriate authorities. Since that time, we've been investigating the cause while doing what we need to protect our systems, our data, and our community. It's impossible to know how long it will take us to get fully up and running again. I can tell you, though, that we will only restore systems when we are confident we can do so safely and securely. As a further update today, I can confirm that the City of Hamilton is experiencing a ransomware attack. I know there will be further questions, and given that the situation is ongoing, I'm limited in what I can share. Right now, we are committed to doing the best thing for the city and protecting our residents. I also know that folks are wondering and have been worried about their personal data. As of this moment, we do not believe that people's personal data and information has been accessed, and we are doing everything we can to keep it that way. As the mayor mentioned, as soon as we have systems up and running, we will conduct a full review of systems and processes to find any areas where we need to improve. We will update what we need to update and do all we can to prevent this from happening again. So I want to thank you again for coming and for your patience over this past week. I know it has been challenging for folks and you've had a lot of questions. We understand that. I just want to reiterate that protecting residents and minimizing the impacts have been our key priorities. Staff continue to work around the clock with our team of experts to get to the bottom of this and resolve it as soon as we can. Because the investigations are still ongoing, we hope you can appreciate that we must be sensitive to how information is shared and how much we can and when. But please continue to visit hamilton.ca for the latest updates. And once again, thank you. We so appreciate your patience and your understanding in this difficult time.
Thank you, City Manager Cluckie and Mayor Horwath. We will now go to members of the media for questions. We will begin with one question and one follow-up, and if time permits, we will do a second round of questions. With that, our first media partner is Samantha Beatty from CBC Hamilton. Samantha, if you have a question, please go ahead.
Well, I guess my first question is, are you able to say anything more about the ransomware attack? Are you still negotiating with these people, or how is it continuing? Like, what else can you say about it?
Thanks for the question, Samantha. What I can share right now is that the city has had a ransomware attack, and right now we have to make sure that we're careful with sensitive information, but we will share information as soon as we are able.
Samantha, if you have a follow-up.
Not right now at this second, thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Next question will go to Tevye Morrow from the Hamilton Spectator. Tevye, if you have a question, please go ahead.
Thanks very much. I guess I'll follow up on the obvious. Has it been considered whether to pay whatever this entity is asking?
Thanks for the question. I can assure you that we're going to do what's best for the city. I hope you can appreciate that some details have to remain confidential at this time to protect our city and its residents.
And as a follow-up, I'll ask, what was the delay in telling the public that it was indeed a ransomware attack, just in light of the fact that certainly the Spectator and I know other media have been asking, what is the nature of this incident?
Thank you. I understand that folks have a lot of questions and want to hear back as soon as possible. I can share that the investigation is still underway and we're going through the proper process. We are sharing information as it becomes available and when we are able to do so.
Thank you, City Manager Cluckie. Next question goes to Al Sweeney from CHCH News. Al, if you have a question, please go ahead.
Hi, Hi, Marnie. Thanks for taking my question. In terms of the ransomware, can you give us any idea of the amount that the hackers are asking for, or where they are, where they're coming from?
Thanks. And again, I can appreciate all the questions that people have. And at this time, what I can tell you is that we're doing what's best for the city. In terms of details, though, I hope you can appreciate that we have to maintain some confidential information to protect our residents.
Okay. Just to follow that up, are the police involved in this? Have they been called in?
Yes, the Hamilton Police Service are involved. They were informed and are investigating.
Thank you, City Manager Cluckie. Our next question goes to Kara Nickerson from Flamborough Today. Kara, if you have a question, please go ahead.
Hello. My question is actually about property taxes. I'm just wondering, when services are working again and people who are on monthly withdrawal systems are able to pay their property taxes again, is that going to come out as a lump sum?
So I can appreciate that people have questions of this nature. I don't have specific answers for that, but we are updating the Hamilton website. And so information will be available there through our Q&A as well. People can call the city's contact center and ask questions there.
Okay. And then for my follow-up, has I guess property taxes not being able to come out, has that impacted the city's cash flow at all?
Again, I'm sorry, but I don't have the specific answer to your question right now. What we can get back to you on that.
Thank you. Our next question goes to John Best from the Bay Observer. John, if you have a question, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thanks for doing this. My question is just trying to get an understanding of why we can't have council and committee meetings. We can access the agendas and the live stream is working. Is there a reason why we're postponing the meetings?
I'm going to let Mayor Horwath answer that question.
Thanks for the question, John. One of the challenges that we have, of course, is that it's all hands on deck in terms of addressing the situation that's in front of us. It's got to be the priority. It's got to be the focus of the senior leadership team, as well as our city manager. Just by happenstance, the way that things occurred is that, in fact, there's very little on the agenda in this week that we're in, as well as next week, because of the way that March break kind of unfolded. And so we are very cognizant, and council is very cognizant that the longer we delay meetings, the more work it's going to be for all around. But and that there are important decisions that need to be forwarded or furthered. But at this point, we just don't have the capacity to staff up as if we were business as usual when it comes to city operations and council's support of council and committee. And so this is why we've where we needed to, we've made some delays. I hope people understand that it's not an easy decision to make, but it's one that is in the best interest of the people of Hamilton at this point, and of getting us through this current situation. Thanks.
Thank you.
John, if you have a follow-up, you can go ahead.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Okay, with that, we will go for another round of questions. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Matthew Van Dongen from Hamilton Spectator is our next media partner. Matthew, if you have a question, please go ahead, and my apologies.
Oh, thanks. Getting worried there. I was wondering, just on actually that same note of sort of having everyone hands on deck and only so much you could accomplish at one time at this point. Are we as a city, are we still handing out parking tickets? Are we still issuing bylaw tickets? Are we still doing all the things that are difficult now for residents to respond to via, paying those tickets or paying, that sort of thing? Is there a delay or a pause, that sort of service?
Thanks for the question. So services are, for the most part, still up and running, and we found ways to deliver those services. Some things have had to become manual in certain circumstances, but we're trying to deliver all of the services uninterrupted. However, at this time, we are going to be understanding and patient with people because while we're having delays, I know that we're causing delays to others. So I'll just take a moment again to also extend our appreciation and thanks to the community for their understanding. We know that this is tough on the community. We're here to support.
So sorry, just to clarify, we are still, if you're parked illegally, you're still going to get a ticket.
Yes, there are still those services, including parking tickets.
Thank you. Thank you, City Manager Cluckie. So we do have time for another round of questions with our media, and we're going to start with Samantha Beatty from CBC Hamilton. Samantha, if you have another question, you can go ahead.
Does the city have cyber insurance that covers ransomware attack type situations like this? And what is the insurance broker company that you're using?
Thank you for the question, Samantha. So I can say that the city does have cybersecurity insurance. We have a policy for that. As for the details, I can't provide that to you at this time.
Thank you very much. Next goes to Tevia Morrow from Hamilton Spectator. Tevia, if you have another question, please go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Michelle. I want to ask again the names of the firms or firms that you have hired. You've talked a lot about, both of you have talked a lot about this expert crack team that's working on it, and it sounds like it really is. But what is the concern about sharing the names of the consultants? How does that possibly threaten the situation?
Thank you for the question. Now, of course, we take advice from our team of experts, and knowing that the community would like answers to these questions, I can provide some of that information now. So our team of cyber experts, their name is Cypher.
Cypher, can you, so what exactly are they working on? Because there's different aspects to this. There's repairing the systems, there's maybe rooting out what the problem is, or can you tell me a little bit of their specific task?
Yes, so thanks for the question. So Cypher offers a number of different services. So they've been engaged through our legal counsel, and they provide forensics and incident response, as well as legal services through the whole team.
Thank you, City Manager Cluckie. We're going to move on to Al Sweeney from CHCH. Al, if you have another question, you can go ahead.
Yes, please. Thank you. I know you said that you can't say how long this is going to take, but can you give us any sense of time? Is it going to be a week of crisis management, a month, or months, or you're going to have to overhaul the city systems? Can you give us any concept like that?
What I can tell you is that we are doing what we can for the city and to get things up and running as quickly as possible. We do have a team of experts. As I said, they are working around the clock and working hard to bring things up safely and securely. While I can't give you a concrete timeline right now, I wish I could, I can tell you that these things do take time, and it's necessary that we're careful and diligent so that we restore the system safely and securely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Kara Nickerson from Flamborough Today. Kara, if you have a follow-up question, please go ahead.
Yeah, so there was kind of a similar situation at the Toronto Library, and the Toronto Library system was offline for 4 months. Is that kind of what we're looking at here? I know you said you can't really say anything, but is it like a similar situation? Do you know that at all?
Thanks for the question. Yes, I am aware of the situation with the Toronto Library. Unfortunately, these situations are happening more regularly in the public sector across Canada and really across the globe. There's a sensitivity to cybersecurity incidents. So a lot of people have had some vulnerabilities to it. Each situation is different and has to be assessed and investigated based on what's happened in that circumstance. So as I mentioned before, what I can tell you now is that our team of experts is working really hard and really diligently to restore our system safely and securely as quickly as they can.
Thank you, City Manager. Next up, John Best from the Bay Observer. John, if you have another question, you can go ahead. Okay, we will move on. Next up is Matthew Van Dongen from the Hamilton Spectator. Matthew, please go ahead with your question.
Hi, just on the topic again of free things. we've seen sort of scattered reports of people saying, hey, I got on the bus today and I didn't have to pay, something to do with the cyber attack, or I didn't have to pay for swimming today. I showed up and something to do with the cyber attack. Is that sort of a wholesale policy for the city at the moment, or is that just an example of staff, using their good judgment to smooth the way for citizens?
Thanks for the question. I don't have the answer to your specific question, but what I can tell you is that we are understanding of the pressures that the community is under as a result of this. And so oftentimes staff will be assessing the situation and doing what's right for the resident.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, City Manager Cluckie. So with that concludes today's media availability. If members of the media have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to mediarelations@hamilton.ca, where our team will connect with you regarding the additional information you're looking for. We appreciate you all joining us today and have a great afternoon.